Thank you. So I'm honored to have this last position to convince you and to give you the last take-home message. So I'm representing our team Generation Green, who's just about to go for revolution for sustainable environmental resource management. And our Helsinki Challenge is actually driven by the concern of the increasing population and the fact that we have to share the very limited natural resources with this ever-increasing population. At the moment, we are about 6 billion, but by the time our children grow up or grandchildren grow up, we are easily 9 to 10 billion people on this earth. But yet, we have the same limited resources. So let's take an example. One of those which has not been discussed today yet is clean drinking water, which is actually one of the global priorities on Earth. So already now, there are 2 billion people who live in areas where the drinking water sources are contaminated with feces or some other bacterial or viral contaminations. Well, this is not really the most important issue for us in Finland, perhaps, because we're used to the fact that we don't need to care about the quality of our drinking water. We can take it for granted. It's always good. But should we actually care? The way in which the urgent need for clean water comes actually really close to our team, as well as all of us here tonight, is through the use of medicines. Or have you ever considered what happens to a drug when it has taken the action in your body? Yes, it will eventually leave our body, along with urine, and end up into the wastewaters. But then what? You've probably heard and know that there are a bunch of scientists doing a good job in order to purify those wastewaters before they release the water into the environment. But recent scientific findings actually indicate that this is not so easy job. There are actually lots of medicines and pharmaceutical residues in the environment. And you can imagine that with increasing population, this will happen in an increasing manner. And actually, there are also recent scientific findings on the fact that these very same chemicals may eventually end up in plants, for example, especially if these are treated with wastewaters or grey water, which is probably the most common thing to do in the developing areas. So it's a real threat. And actually, it may even happen to such a large amount that these pharmaceutical residues may end up in our body if we eat only one of such vegetables. So that the level of these pharmaceutical residues will easily exceed the toxic level in human, especially if this human being is a small child. So it is clear that although it's not a catastrophe yet, we really have to take the action now. And what we can do, what are the things that we can do? For sure, we cannot stop using medicines. That would probably be even bigger harm to the mankind. But what we in our team are doing as teachers and students in pharmacy, we are trying to figure out new ways to design drug molecules so that they would be more eco-friendly, perhaps totally degrade in the environment. And yes, we are also the ones that ask you to bring your expired medicine back to the pharmacy store so that they don't end up to the environment. But these kind of actions are really just individual actions toward really specific identified problems. And we in our team, we think that this is really not enough. It's not a sustainable solution if we only fight against those individual problems. And we think that we really need to have a comprehensive change in mindset. But that's, of course, that's not going to be easy, especially not for us, the present-day old generation, if I may say, because we have to learn everything from the scratch. But what we can do as teachers or as alumni of one of the world's best universities is that we could bring up a new generation for which all of these environmental awareness and environmental issues would be really built in to all their actions. And we really think that the only way to do this is through education, by taking advantage of the high-level educational system that we have here in Finland. And as the first step of revolution, our team is actually addressing the current curricula in pharmacy. We are trying and promoting to change the mindset of our teachers, which is, of course, only the first step. But thereby, we really believe that we are able to climb up all the way to the top and reach the final goal, which we call the Generation Green. And this generation is going to have a built-in understanding, comprehensive and integrated view on the environmental resource management, so that they can identify the problems that we don't even know yet, and they can, more importantly, identify the risks before they even turn into problems. But really, we have to start the revolution today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today, this very evening. Because we really think that this is scalable to all possible fields. And we are really trying to develop the kind of concept which is really directly applicable to all of the affiliated fields that you represent. And also, we are not only bringing up the first generation, but of course, the idea is that the first generation will eventually bring up new generations, so that one day some of those future generations have really an inherited understanding on environmental resources. But what we want you today to do is that you will be the first ones to put that first drop moving in order to secure clean resources for everyone. So we call you to action. We are in the social media. Email us or come talk to us. Our wonderful team is over there. It doesn't matter if you're not experts in pharmacy, because we are. It doesn't matter if you're not an expert in environmental issues, because these things really should be integrated over all fields. But if you have an idea or expertise in educational systems or change management, for example, please come talk to us. We need you, and the world needs Generation Green. Thank you.